At this point, I'm starting to think that, like, by the time we get our journal, the Nameless One's gonna be like, oh! And then the credits just roll. Like, he just opens the journal, we don't get to see what's inside, and he's just like, huh! And then, then the game ends. Like, what else is gonna happen at this point? You're not supposed to be here. Can we get him? Can we defeato? Can we defeato delito? Ow.
Endure. In enduring, grow strong. Insert the Mon's name.
This thing's probably strong, so let's do our best to... Nope! Well, I wasted my spells. He wasn't very strong, as it turns out. Womp, 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 womp. Remember when I looked up, I passed up that berry because it seemed like it was going to be a big deal. Like, it's like, that seems like a whole new zone. I shouldn't quite go. Let's check out smaller places first. Then the building I did try going inside of turned out to be an entire... It's like, this is the biggest building you've ever seen. Like, it's like, fuck off big. Like, holy shit, you're going to be here for hours. And then I was here for hours. At least I think this is like our third episode here. I think this is our last lecture from 3 planes aligned. Thin and sharp-featured, his yellow skin covered with tattoos, this man looks over the room and its inhabitants with cold black eyes. He appears to be giving a lecture. I am known as 3 planes aligned. A Githzerai scholar. If you are here for my lecture, it begins in a few moments. He speaks with a very low, somber tone. Today, I shall speak of the power of alignment and belief, and how they shape the planes. First, I shall explain the concept of alignment. Alignment is a descriptor of one's beliefs, and how one acts upon those beliefs. At their core, all creatures predominantly behave in one of 3 ways: with good in their heart, with evil in their heart, or indifference or neutrality in their heart. Sounds like evil to me. Just indifference seems callous and evil, like, you know? They predominantly express each of these core behaviors in one of 3 different ways: in an ordered manner, in a chaotic manner, or an indifferent, neutral manner. Thus, there are 9 core alignments that one is capable of. The 9 alignments, then, are lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good, that's the full, you know, it's the grid. It's the alignment chart. Now I shall speak of the power of alignment and the beliefs it engenders, of how from them the very deities gain strength, and how belief can physically affect one's environments. A deity must have worshippers, for it is the faith of such subjects which gives them power. As converts are made, and more come to believe in God, the more... As converts are made, and more come to believe in a god, the more power that god receives. Conversely, when no one believes in a deity, it withers and dies, joining the corpses of other gods that float on the astral plane. It is thus possible to slay a deity simply by forgetting about them. Get owned. A much more striking example of the power of alignment and belief, however, can be seen within the sliding of gate towns. First, though, I would define gate towns. Gate towns are towns on the outlands, the largely neutral area which Sigil spins over the center of. They are called gate towns because they are built around a permanent gate or portal to one of the outer planes. Each of these outer planes had its own alignment. The Abyss is chaotic and evil. Baator is lawful and evil. Mechanus is lawful, neutral. Mount Celestia is lawful and good. The Outlands, again, are true neutral, leaning to neither law or chaos. Sliding occurs when there is a high concentration of belief in an area of differing belief. When this occurs, the area itself will move or slide to a plane that matches the new belief. Now, the gate towns usually have a strong belief that matches the outer plane beyond the portal, but the belief is not yet strong enough for the town to slide from the outlands and into the outer plane. For example, the town of Ribcage borders the portal to the lawful evil plane of Baitor. As expected, the residents of Ribcage are largely lawful evil residents, but the entire town's alignment and beliefs are not strong enough so that Ribcage will slide into Baitor. For example, Ribcage might one day see the sudden rise of a lawful evil order of clerics, promoting their dark beliefs and converting many citizens to the worship of their lawful evil god. Were this to occur, there would be a good chance that the town would slide off the neutral outlands, becoming part of the lawful evil plane of Baitor. Whole layers of planes may move this way. Thus, many wars are wars of belief and faith by necessity. They are the tools by which territory is obtained and held. This, then, is the power of alignment and belief to shape the planes. This session has ended. May belief guide your actions and shape the planes to your will. Farewell, all of you. There's nothing to interrogate here. They don't want to. I don't think they want to spend time questioning the concept of alignment in this universe, because it would get really confusing, because it's just like a basic element of D&D, and if you interrogate it too much, it falls apart because it's hard to make complete sense of it. Like, it's kind of goofy.
Done.
It's I don't know. I feel a little weird just in that, like, I think of alignment as kind of just like this thing that informs your role playing, what kind of character you're thinking of, and it being, I know that I always knew that there were deities and like paladins and whatnot have alignments that are like necessary to continue playing their character correctly, but aside from that, like, it just didn't seem relevant to most behavior. To most mechanics. It's just a thing that informs your behavior, and you're like, oh yeah, this is the kind of vibe my character's going for, and then you just move on, and that's it. It feels weird. It feels weird for it to be so important, and it feels even weirder that people are just talking about it like it's a real force in this universe, because I've just never had that experience in D&D, and I don't know if I necessarily like it. It's very strange. It's a very strange way to talk about morality. Like, I think like you get skeeved out when somebody in real life talks about like morality as like the idea that there's just people who are inherently good and inherently bad and so on. That's usually a concerning thing. But like, there's even entire cities that just have alignments. This is the good city and this is the evil city. Like, obviously they aren't all perfectly in lockstep. They like vary from person to person within a range. But the idea that there's just like more good and more lawful and more evil cities, like, it makes sense that locations would vary on level of lawfulness to level of chaoticness, and it'd be fun to subvert those ideas a little bit, like the idea that like, oh, this is the chaotic place, but actually they're in anarchy in the like political sense, like of a lack of hierarchy, and actually this place is lawful, which that sounds good, right? Actually, it's a fascism. Like, you could like have some fun with that and be like, oh yeah, but what do these things actually mean? But the idea that a town is inherently good or bad is a weird feeling, because that seems at best like a judgment you can make of like the leadership, like the people in charge. You can make a judgment about them collectively and what they're doing, but doing that to all the people feels weird. But because that this setting is informed by those ideas, like we can potentially just accept, like, yes, this is just somehow an entire town of evil people, an entire town of good people, which itself is strange in a different way. Just trying to imagine the concept of like all of the gate cities being gate cities, like they're all on the borders, they're all consistently in the same like overall configuration, and they all perfectly align to being kind of each of these 8 other alignments. in some noteworthy way, but they still collectively feel like gate cities, a collective category of a type of dwelling location that is all comparable to each other, despite the fact that they would be so dramatically different, seemingly, in their people and their organization and level of, like, safety and so on, to the point where it'd be, like, potentially difficult to even recognize them as being similar locations? I don't know. There's just, like, a lot to unpack with how strange that world building is. Even in a universe where everything is like not technically physical and is all like imagination and thought based. The attractive young woman smiles pleasantly. Something I might help you with, sir? How would I get into one of these rooms? You'd have to be a member of the Society of Sensations, sir. Approved by Splinter. He's just inside the entrance to the fest hall, if you'd like to speak with him. Can I rest here? The Civic Fest Hall often rents out any unused chambers by the evening. You could certainly rest there, should one be available. Should I check for you, sir? Yes, please do. The Merchant, the Noble, and the Royal? How much do they cost? 3? The expensive one is 8? I have 3,700, and that feels like not even like a huge amount. It's like enough for one piece of gear. Though most people would gain 20 hit points from a full night's rest here, you awaken fully recovered. Huh. So all these things refer to the idea that we have amazing regenerative abilities. These are different levels of quality from each other. And so I guess that's why other people heal less than me in cases. But apparently the Nameless One just is so badass. In his regenerative healing factor that he just fully heals on the fly. At a rate greater than everyone else. Which I didn't actually know. I don't think I knew that. That spell is so loud.
Done.
This is the same room. Alright, so this is the extended part of the faction that you get by joining. So I think we're done-ish here then. Maybe. Rebuke Kuisai's arguments for training as a thief rather than a warrior. Train as a thief with the Fest Hall's thief tutor, or if I did not want to become a rogue, talk to the thief tutor and find a counterpoint to Kisai's rebuttal. I wanted to, but I didn't see a thief trainer. I didn't see any trainers, I just see students. Doesn't every single character have the name Thief in training? I don't know where these trainers are. Was it supposed to talk to any thief trainer? Because I interpreted it as being talk to our thief trainer. And get a sick comeback. This Barriar, I think, is the only unique name in any of these locations, but I think that's just because that's what he is. This is the third lecture hall. Jolmy just wants to murder. Just wants to feel it. I do not think I understand. Aren't you a thief trainer?
Aye. Aye.
Anna, can you train me in thieving skills? Eh? What you on about? Yeah, no. That doesn't seem very relevant.
What is your will?
I'm not gonna get the comeback that way. There are things I would know, Dakon. Dakon, what is Shrak to lore? Dakon's forehead creases as if he were struck a blow. It is not my will that we ever speak of that place. Dakon, tell me, what is Shrak to lore? Dakon is silent for a moment. No, it is the place where I died my first death. What is this place? It is one of the great homes of the people. It has suffered many wounds in its life. One of its scars is by my hand. What do you mean? Upon the rolling plain of Limbo, the people shape cities from the chaos with their thoughts. Know that there is no place for a divided land. There is no place for a divided mind. Dagon raises the blade from his shoulder and holds it before him. As he stares at it, it sharpens until it is almost as thin as a piece of paper. Go on. A divided mind is an unfocused mind. A divided mind fractures walls and weakens stone. As Dagon speaks, the edges of the blade corrode slightly, the metal misting and melting along the edges. Many divided minds may destroy a city. Long have I known the words of Zerthamon. Through my voice, many have come to know the words of Zerthamon. The Zerth protect the community from all threats, whether to the body or the mind. They are the guiding stones in the chaos. So it came to pass that I spoke the words of Zerthamon without knowing the words of Zerthamon. It came to pass that I no longer knew myself. So, you doubted the words? No. Dakon's voice is edged, and his blade sharpens in response. I knew the words, yet it came into my heart that perhaps others did not know the words as Zerthamon knew them, and so division formed. As my mind became as two, as my mind divided, those that looked to me as a guiding stone became divided. Many scores of Githzerai, many hundreds of scores of Githzerai, doubted. Shrak-to-Lord died that day. So, those that followed you came to doubt the words as well. And the city was weakened. The enemies of Zerthamon came. Know that their hatred of his words and the people lent their blades strength. Know that they sensed the weakened city, and they brought war with them. Many Githzerai drowned in the chaos and beneath the blades of our enemies. Small beads of metal appear on the surface of the blade, as if it is blistering. No, this happened long ago. What happened to you? As I fell from the walls of Shrak-to-Lor, know that myself was broken, my blade was missed, my mind divided. I was adrift upon Limbo's seas, and I wished to drown. I died for days, my mind awash in division. How did you survive?
Dated my journal.
As you speak the words, you feel a strange crawling sensation eats its way through the back of your skull, and your vision blurs. You take a deep breath and steady yourself. For some strange reason, you feel nauseous, as if the landscape has just started spinning around you. How did you survive, Dakon? I suffered. As I neared death, I came to know myself. I suffered. That is all. Can I talk to you of your teachings? I don't think I want to go into spellcasting right now. Well, that was nice timing.
Right.
I think the context of what he was talking about is directly informed by what we just learned about alignment and border cities, which are a strange concept. Nameless One, they're just counters. $3,200. Tobacco +1. -2 AC, which as far as I understand is very good. Will they? Nope. They will not buy the old one, and the old one is not worth much anyway. Well, they parted with the upgraded gear.
I'm gone.
So Anna just got better at hitting and not getting hit, which is a good deal. Alright, so still trying to find the magic word for my water jug thing. It's like my biggest incentive to be here, but I'm, of course, exploring accordingly. Oop. Were any of these characters over here important? I didn't look that closely. No, those are all sensates. Elo brand. Fortunes told. Get your fortunes told for a paltry 5 coppers. This old woman examines you closely with her sharp gray eyes. First your face, then your arms and various tattoos. Greetings, scarred one. Come speak with Elobrand, have you? Come to speak with Elobrand, have you? Come to have your fortune told, mayhap, for a paltry 5 coins? Yes. Tell me my fortune. Elobrand places your coins in her belt pouch and takes your hands. She quietly studies your palms, frowning deeply. At long last she speaks. Some rare folk are what's called fateless, you see. They wander through their lives doing as they see fit, creating their own destinies. You have no fortune to tell, scarred one. Not at all. Not at all. I have nothing to tell you. And so here's your coin. She returns your 5 coppers. I see. I had some questions. I do not speak of things mundane, scarred one. In that case, farewell. Hold ye one moment, scarred one. Elobrand reaches out, touching your arm. My mother gave me something once, long ago. A scroll sealed with wax. A hooded man had entrusted it to her, and said that a man such as ye would one day unwittingly come to claim it. Here, I would have you take it now. What is it? Elobrand shakes her head, frowning. I do not know. She was sworn never to read the thing, and I obeyed her request to leave the seal unbroken myself. The man had paid her handsomely to take the scroll, but warned her of the direst consequences should she open it. Thanks, then. Farewell. Mysterious, strange, bizarre, suspicious sealed scroll. The scroll has been tightly bound with red ribbon and sealed with wax. You can't put your finger on it, but you've got a bad feeling about this thing, as if opening it and reading the scroll could somehow be dangerous. Yay! This is an old, fading, innocuous-looking parchment scroll, bound with a single red ribbon and smelling faintly of mildew. The ribbon is held in place with a plain wax seal. Break the seal, open the scroll, read it.
My journal.
The scroll contains a few lines of shaky calligraphy in a strange rune. The calligraphy reads, "This may not kill you, but it will slow you down, I am sure. Stop chasing me, you thieving bastards. It's my body. Mine, mine, mine. Now die. What the? The rune suddenly throbs, and the entire scroll begins to dissolve into a stinking black mess. The fluid seeps directly into the flesh of your hands. In seconds, the magical hemotoxin begins to render your blood into black bile. For a moment, you clutch at yourself, howling in agony, and then the pain subsides. You have survived whatever horrible magic was placed upon the scroll. Ow. But also, I'm immune to anything, so... Huh. Oh. But I think I was full health, so I just lost 35 health. So, ow. Do I have anything right now? Nothing affected by? You see Ilobrand, the fortune teller. I greet you once more, Scarred One. I read that scroll. It was trapped. Ilobrand looks confused. I don't know what to say to you, Scarred One. You could start by saying how, exactly, you came by the thing. As I told you, Scarred One, it was given to me by my mother. A hooded man had given it to her some 50 years past, paying her well, but bidding her to never read it, whatever the circumstances. Ilobrand sighs, looking away for a moment. A user of magic she was, powerful in the art, but frightened of this man just the same. She had said his eyes, all that she could see of him really, hinted at madness, and that the flesh around him was puckered and gray, like yours. I know nothing more of him. That'll have to do then. Farewell. Definitely when we talked about it, it's my body, stay away, you thieves. I kind of had a reflexive thought that it was just a letter I sent myself.
Done. I'm gone.
Ready.
Can you not be in the way?
All right.
Nope. Not much here.
I'm gone.
Because when we were in that tomb, it was established that, or it was hinted at least, that like, over the years we keep forgetting over and over again, and we keep becoming new people, essentially. And so all those things seem to be describing versions of me that don't match each other, essentially. That we're just clearly different people, but also the same person. And so like a past us that was chaotic evil might have set a trap for ourselves in the future. Since she even said we looked similar from what little we knew, which is that it's secondhand account, so it's hard to say. This tall, slender woman occasionally looks up from her cup of wine to scan the surrounding patrons and passers-by. Her facial features are elegantly exotic, and her eyes, a brilliant gold in color, catch the light, sparkling as she looks about. Greetings. She regards you carefully for a moment before replying. She speaks slowly and carefully, avoiding direct eye contact with you. I, Aelwyn, return your greetings. Are you looking for someone? She nods, staring wistfully into her cup of wine. Nemel is her name, a friend of mine. Aelwyn's. I, Aelwyn, worry for her in this place, and wonder why she hasn't come to meet me, Aelwyn, yet. That was a weird amount of saying your own name, but haven't I heard of Nemel? Don't I have reason to be looking out for Nemel? This sounds familiar. I could help you find your friend.
Updated my journal.
Would you do this? She looks up from her cup, smiling, and you're suddenly overcome with a sense of hope and joyous gratitude. Seeing you tense up, she covers her mouth and averts her eyes once more. The feelings fade to nothing. Aelwyn, thank you. Overcome... Ah. Ah. Feels like we're stress testing the vocals with the yawn, burp, cough, all this mess. Like, not even doing any real voices. Ah. I wouldn't expect being overcome with hope and gratitude to be tensing up. That seems like the opposite. What was that? What was what, kind stranger? She bites her lower lip. I, Aelwyn, know not to what you speak. Very well. What does Namel look like? She appears as I, Aelwyn, do, but with raven hair and eyes of bright violet. I'll tell her you're waiting here for her then. Farewell. Have I heard of Namel? Don't even get a hint on how to find her, do we? The smiling man nods cheerfully at you as you approach. Welcome to my cafe, good sir. What might I serve you? Some wine, perhaps? No wine, but I had questions. The man gives you a helpless sort of look. Humblest apologies, sir, but I make it my policy to serve drinks and nothing more. You shall have to look elsewhere for conversation, I'm afraid. Are you certain you wouldn't like a drink? Or some bread and cheese, perhaps? No, I don't need anything. Farewell. We can have drinks at other places. Why not here? It almost feels like they just were like, stop asking everyone everything. Oh my god, move on. It's gonna start just writing NPCs that just don't want to answer your questions at some point, because they've done it. At this point, they've written so many characters answering so many questions. The Apothecary. That might be a good sign for finding out the name of the thing. Pestle Kiln. Wow. You guys have extremely thematic names. I guess it's just like a in-universe rule, maybe? Like Reekwind and so on, where like people gain the names from their behaviors because it's like a thought, like a thought realm. You see a wall-eyed fellow whose skin seems to writhe and ripple across his entire body. He is smacking his chapped lips with a blotched tongue. As you watch, his right eye moves independently of the left, focusing on you. A second later, the left one flicks to look your way, then reverts to its original position. The right eye blinks. A strange gurgling comes from his throat. Greetings. The man gives you a lopsided grin and points at himself with his right thumb. Pestle, I'm called the alchemist. He points at himself again, this time with his left index finger. The name's Kiln. Huh? Need you something? Are you all right? I am. His throat convulses for a moment, then relaxes. A large green glowing pustule suddenly bursts from the side of his neck. Something you needed then, sir? His throat clenches again, and a wave of quivering flesh swallows the blistering green pustule back beneath the skin of his throat. He coughs violently for a moment, then seems to relax. You. May I ask what happened to you? The left eye rolls upward in exasperation. The right eye looks askance. Too much to drink? Too much of what, though? Potions. I drank. Too many potions. His mouth slides down beneath his chin. His left nostril forms another one. The most I ever drank, that's for certain. Of polymorphin they were, and brewed in limbo. Anything I can do to help? The man's eyes turn inwards to look at each other, then back to you. Dunno. He shudders. The mouth below his chin moves up to envelop the one his nostril formed. This sort of thing happens quite often. Can't seem to help but sample the stock. If you find a way to help, the two of us would be grateful, sir. What a nightmare. I had another question. Half of his mouth curls downward into a frown. He shakes his head. Work in the stockroom all day, I do. He shudders violently. Suddenly, a third eye pops open over the bridge of his nose. The left one shifts sideways as the new eye takes its place. I speak only of the store, sir. That said, the skin on its face seems to eat the new eye, and the left one returns to its old location. Distressing. Just all of it's distressing. The old engineer in the foundry tells me to get a sample of my blood and skin for his machine to work. I need to do that. I need you to do that for me. Scraping? Very... well... His right hand takes up a razor blade, his left a wide-mouthed bottle. He removes a small section of skin from your forearm, placing it into the bottle along with a small quantity of your blood. He then places some gauze over your wound and hands you the bottle. You need anything? More, sir? Yes, I wanted to purchase something. Did I, though? Is that what I wanted to do? Let's find out. What an adventure. Well, I can't sell anything to him. Seems to be mostly the usual stuff. I mostly try to make do with whatever I find, so I can save up for the upgrades and whatnots.
Done.
Beautiful gloves, let me have at him.
Gonna take the long way around just so that I don't reveal more of the map, since it's helping me keep track of where I've been. But I might as well turn this in, see what's gonna happen here. Now that we've made headway through all the early quests, it's kind of nice to try to keep the quest log as simple as possible. It was in here. It's been occurring to me that I don't necessarily know what the story of this game is. I mean, I do, but at the same time we don't. You know what I mean? Like we... he wasn't here, right?
All right.
We know that we've lived a bunch of lives and forgotten them, so I can't die, and I want to figure out why. I'm looking for a journal, and I'm being chased by evil ghost thingies. But aside from that, like that's like kind of a starting point, but we've been so focused on learning about this place, we haven't really had like a driving plot necessarily. It's a very different setup. What I need to begin the final stages of the Dream Builder is a piece of your skin immersed in your blood. So, the machine can familiarize itself with your physical essence. It must be in a blue-green bottle to symbolize the dream sea on which you will float. I've got it right here. Take it. Show me my dreams.
Updated my journal.
The machine requires a birdcage adorned with razors, fine wrought to mimic the destructive power of dreams, and their ability to capture our hearts and imaginations. Search the siege tower for a cage I have commissioned. How do I get in there? You've proven yourself resourceful. Find a way. Okay. New problem. Maybe should have sent me to do the blood last, since it feels like it will decay in a way that a birdcage would not.
All right. Done.
So there's some kind of way to get inside this siege weapon. This appears to be a siege tower. The walls are scarred and pitted. It has seen many a battle in its lifetime. In the lowered position, this drawbridge would give attackers access to the siege tower, the walls of the sea keep. Can this be used to get up there? Drawbridge light contraption. Can't determine what this odd device is. Lenny, do you have any news for me? Can't go over here.
Come on, we got a special on slaves. Use them for whatever you will. They're right over here. Step right up.
Not sure what to think here.
My lungs feel like a chimney.
Hmm.
Come on, we got a special on slaves. Use them for whatever you will. They're right over here. Step right up.
I've still got other things to pursue. One of many potential answers is there might be a portal that takes you there.
Done.
I'm not sure what they might want from me here. Oh, there's Namel. You awkward people, you met at the wrong bar, you goofs. The tall, slender woman, sipping wine from a small ceramic cup, appears to be looking for someone. Her facial features are elegantly exotic, and the woman's ears, though partially covered with long hair, seem to be can be seen to come to sharp points. Greetings. The woman turns to face you, violet eyes flashing like flawless chips of amethyst. Her speech is as music. You can hear a faint musical tinkling, 100 tiny crystal bells. As she speaks, each word lingers in your ears, as if they were unwilling to relinquish the exquisite sound. Namel... Oh, she's narrating. Namel turned to face the scarred, dour stranger. She asked what he wished of her. Oh, that's why I'm looking for Namel. That is the decanter person. You're Namel. I was told you know the command word for the decanter. The woman makes no move to touch or examine the decanter, but only speaks. Namel took it from the stranger, turning it in her hands. Had she seen it its like before, she thought? Perhaps. Yes. She remembered now. She returned the decanter, whispering it into your ear as she did so.
Updated my journal.
You realize you know the word. You realize you know the word now. Nil denosage. Though you're certain the woman never whispered it to you, but merely said she did. She blinks at you. Would the stranger leave her, now, satisfied with what she has told him? Not yet. Your friend, Aelwood, is looking for you.
My journal.
Namel's lips form a perfect smile. An infectious happiness radiates from her, clinging to you like sweet-smelling warmth. Namel was overjoyed to hear of her friend. Was Aelwyn close by? She's at another cafe, east of here, across this part of the ward. Namel thanked the man for his wondrous news. Soon she would go visit her oldest friend, Aelwyn. Now, though, she would reward the stranger. No, that's all right. I need no reward. Namel touches her index finger to her lips, making a faint hushing sound. She would draw the stranger close, laying her hand upon his chest and kissing the pale, leathery skin on his cheek. Life would flow into him, invigorating him. This, then, was to be his reward. Max HP up by 3 and 8,000 experience. As you wait, there's a light tingling sensation upon your cheek and chest. The feeling spreads across the whole of your body and you begin to feel stronger, more animated. Thanks. I had some questions. Namel listened to the stranger's questions, but could answer none. He would have to seek his answers elsewhere. But I haven't even asked. Namel smiles at you, slowly shaking her head. Your face reflected in her shimmering eyes. Frustrated, confused, he at last gave up. It was clear this woman possessed no more knowledge that was of use to him, or if she did, she could not be persuaded to share it. What? No, just let me ask you something. You open your mouth, but no words come out. Try as you might, you cannot question her. Namel shakes her head sadly. Farewell, then.
Knowing the teachings of Zerthamon, I have become stronger.
Okay, Zerthamon. Come, Mr. Zerthamon, tally me banana. 5 health, 6 health. And vague promise that he's gotten stronger in combat. Somewhere, somehow. The next level is like 50,000. I know this is normal in D&D, but it's always startling to me every time anyway.
I'm gone.
Other video game RPGs prime you for like a slow ramping, like every level's gonna be worth like, I don't know, 20% more or something. Like it's just like it's gonna keep going up and eventually it's like, wow, that's a lot of experience per level. But in D&D, every time you level up, the next level costs like almost as much as all of the experience you've gotten so far. Like, it's like doubling every single time. Like that, whatever that freaking story is about putting 2 rice on a checkerboard and then doubling it for every square or whatever. That's leveling in D&D. Another barkeep that probably doesn't want to talk to me. Same guy basically. Same dialogue, at least.
I'm gone.
I would like to rob someone. For fun. I like to rob people.
Done.
Yeah, let's sample a little turtle eye.
The Advocate's home. Well, I would like to do other stuff, but let's go get our party member. I normally wouldn't presume that the guy who's on fire that you can fix would be a party member, because it just sounds like another person with another curse, like Reekwind. But the game gave it away by having a PC's tab that fills in characters that you haven't recruited yet. And I might as well start getting his experience sooner rather than later.
Right.
I wonder if this decanter of endless water will do something. You tilt the decanter over the grill and begin to pour. A small stream of ice-blue water pours from the decanter and touches the flames of the grill with a violent hissing and a rush of steam. As if in response to this challenge, the decanter seems to lunge forward, falling onto the grill and shattering. By the hells? The hissing billows of steam and a furious crackling noise rushes from the grill, spilling over you and forcing you to cover your ears and turn away. There's a scream, a cackling, a terrible sound like 100 buildings burning, people screaming, their screams being cut short by the roar of flame and melting flesh. Cover your ears, block out the sound. As you put your hands over your ears to block out the sound, you feel a stickiness on your hands, like hot cheese or candle wax. Your ears are bleeding from the sound. You draw your hands back and see them covered with chunks of melted flesh filled with bloody swirls. Try to get out of the bar. You're about to run from the bar, but anything to get away from the sound, when suddenly all falls silent, except for a jagged, cackling coming from the grill. You turn. On the grill lies the decanter of endless water, now nothing but shards and steam. Above it is the creature, flame still trailing from its body, floating over the bar's floor. It is staring at you, its eyes flickering like two torches. I know you. We have not heard voice acting in a while, besides the constant shouting in markets. The creature's face splits, charred flesh peeling away from its jaw so that it might speak. Yes. Its voice crackles, burns, roars through the creature's chest, and with every word, flakes of cinder and ash spit from its mouth and drift into the air. You can barely stand to look at the thing. The blazing radiance surrounding it is terrible to behold. Ignus.
Long have I slept dreams of flames. I am yours till death comes for us both.
We shall see. Oh. And now we're party members. Just having a normal one. Just like that. That's a lot of armor class. Oh, he's level 7 already. He's a mage? He looks friendly. What does this icon mean? Chaotic neutral. Okay. Isn't one of you already chaotic neutral? Yeah. Wait. Lawful neutral. Chaotic neutral. Okay, yeah, these two have the same icons. So this is neutrality. And this means chaotic, and this means lawful. And I am neutral good. As good as a triangle. And no one's evil so far. Everyone's pretty neutral. They don't care about good or evil, apparently. Well, he just casually joined the party just like that. Was the ear bleeding and all that other mess real? Or was it like a vision or a reaction to how bad things got? Do I currently have my ears blown out? Just a lot. It's a minor note, but I'm glad that some games have started to learn from this. It's very awkward when voice acting is handled this way. Like, there's a bunch of description. This is exasperated by me doing a Let's Play where I'm reading the dialogue, obviously, and so sometimes when there's voice acting, I just skip the descriptions and I just play the voice and then I move on. Because it's very weird to hear random spikes of voice acting and then go back and like fill in the description that was supposed to happen between the voiced lines. Like reading them out doesn't make any sense unless I also read the voiced lines, in which case what was the point of them being voiced for my purposes. But even if you're reading them in your mind, like you probably aren't perfectly reading the descriptions between each line of dialogue perfectly in pace to go between the lines of dialogue. So it's just like, I'm not sure what they were going for in some of these cases when they handled them this way. It was a notable upgrade where like I didn't like Tyranny as much as Pillars of Eternity, if I remember correctly. But I think that a noticeable change between those two games was that Pillars of Eternity still did this all these years later, where they'd randomly voice act certain lines, and when they do that, they'll skip all the narration in between, but it's really awkward if there's a lot of narration and description in between the voice lines and so on. I think it was Tyranny that like reorganized the dialogue and specifically set it up so that each time you hit continue in some way, they would front load the dialogue. The character would do the dialogue first at the beginning of the page, and then description would follow the dialogue. And so they would basically just intentionally pace it so that if they wanted to have dialogue in the middle of some descriptions or whatever, they would just have like a continue button or something. And then so it'd always be timed so that the dialogue, which plays immediately, is meant to be heard immediately, and then you can go on to read what came after it. And it was just a much more sensical system than randomly sprinkling dialogue between waves of non-dialogue in a giant mess. And then like in some cases like this one where he had 3 separate lines of dialogue that were all split by description. Moments like that are just very strange. As he approached the woman to talk to her, Ignus's eyes flare up, and before he can stop him, He embraces her. She returns his embrace, losing herself in his flames. She does not cry out. Your last glimpse of her is burned into your memory. Her eyes are full of fiery passion and all-engulfing love. Nothing is left of her, not even ashes. That was thorough, Ignus, and hasty. I wanted to speak with her. Well, your one true love has come back, and then you die instantly. So he's just always like this. We basically just only managed to wake him up. We didn't do anything to fix it. I feel like the barkeep named Barkiss, might want to. Should we talk about this? Who is the corpse anyway? This is awkward. If you want to know more about him, go talk to Drusilda down there. So his dialogue did not update to reflect the fact that, like, the corpse is now alive and not so much a corpse. And Drusilda is a corpse, except for the part where she did not leave behind a corpse. She is gone AF. So should I revisit this guy's questions? I am fresh back from negation, and I'm trying to restore my essence before it slips away from me altogether. I'm trying to remember if I read this exactly. Negation? What do you mean? His eyes cloud over. I went to the inner planes to discover my true essence. I made the mistake of visiting the negative material plane in order to understand my body's urge to decay and the cycle of death in life. I thought myself protected against the ill effects of the plane with my magic. But I was wrong. The blackness of infinite nothing pressed on my soul, and I was beset by shadows that sought to snuff out my very soul. I lost my way for a time, for an eternity, and nearly lost my existence. I could feel my essence falling away from me, and am even now half gone. Never will I return. How did you survive?
Dated my journal.
How did I survive? He smiles tightly. With a piece of nothing that held back the nothing. Nothing can stop nothing, you know. So I carried nothing in my hand to protect me. Do you plan to journey to the ultimate negation yourself? You have the smell of desperation about you, so I make you this gift. Hold it in your hand when the shadows press in, and that should protect you and your friends somewhat, should they remain close to you. He passes you a small black token that looks as if it has no dimensionality to it at all. Thanks. Tell me more of the planes. What did you mean when you mentioned negation before? Tell me of the outer planes. This is a lot. I just don't necessarily see myself parsing that stuff. It just seems like a lot. And I don't have a context for how most of it fits into the narrative, if it does at all. Kind of maybe doesn't. It might just be a fun little like, hey, here's how fucking crazy this version of D&D is. Want to talk about it? Well, just like that, I've got another party member. Spells. It's fire. He has fire spells. Boy, are you surprised.